Do you ever feel a strange sense of loneliness, even while standing in a room overflowing with people? It's a scary feeling, right? You're surrounded by hundreds of vibrant faces, but your mind feels trapped inside a quiet, cold bubble. Everyone else seems so easily connected, sharing jokes and warm smiles, while you're just watching them like a ghost from the shadows. You try to speak and blend in, but the gap feels wider than an ocean. Your soul feels completely invisible. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind this painful feeling of the lonely crowd. Did you know that your brain processes rejection the exact same way as physical pain? It's true, when you're ignored or pushed away by people, your brain activates the same region that reacts when you break a bone or burn your skin. That sharp, aching tightness in your chest isn't just an emotion, it's a physical signal. Evolutionary biology wired us to survive in groups, so isolation literally felt like a death sentence to our ancestors. Your mind is simply panicking to protect you. You aren't crazy for hurting this much. We live in a world where we can text anyone in seconds, yet so many of us go to sleep feeling deeply alone. You scroll through endless feeds of people laughing and hanging out, but somehow it only makes your room feel quieter. Here's the truth. Digital attention isn't real human connection. 100 quick likes can't replace one warm conversation. Your brain knows the difference between being seen by a screen and being felt by a person. We are hyper-connected on paper, but starves for true belonging. Social media gives us an audience, but what we really need is a friend. Once you realize that social media can't save you, being alone might start to feel terrifying. But what if the problem isn't being alone, but how you view it? There is a massive psychological difference between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is a painful longing for connection, a feeling that something is missing. Solitude, however, is a peaceful choice. It's the art of enjoying your own company without feeling empty. Loneliness drains your emotional energy, but solitude actually recharges your soul. You don't always need more people around you. Sometimes you just need to become a better friend to yourself. Even when you start viewing solitude as a choice, society often pressures us to hide our struggles. Have you ever caught yourself laughing loudly in a crowd, pretending to be fine, only to feel utterly exhausted the moment you walk away? Psychologists call this smiling depression. We wear a bright, fake mask to make others comfortable, fearing that showing our true pain will push people even further. But hiding behind a smile actually builds a wall between you and real connection. You don't have to perform for the world just to be loved. True connection begins when you allow yourself to be honest about how you feel. Once you stop hiding behind a fake smile, you encounter a strange contradiction. You want connection, yet you keep pushing people away. It sounds irrational, but psychologists explain this as a self-defense mechanism born from the fear of rejection. When you've been hurt or isolated before, your brain views intimacy as a potential threat. You cancel plans last minute, leave texts unread, or find tiny flaws in others just to create distance. You isolate yourself first, so no one else gets the chance to abandon you. But pushing people away doesn't protect your heart. It only guarantees the very loneliness you fear. Once you start pushing people away, your mind creates a toxic shield called overthinking. You text a friend, they don't reply for 2 hours, and your brain instantly invents a story. They're ignoring you, they're bored of you, or they secretly dislike you. Psychologists call this cognitive distortion, where emotional isolation tricks your brain into seeing rejection where none exists. A quiet phone isn't proof that nobody cares, it's just a quiet phone. But when you're lonely, your mind treats worst-case scenarios as absolute facts. Stop believing every story your anxious mind creates in the dark. Once you realize that your mind invents fake rejection, you might feel tempted to fix your loneliness by making as many friends as possible. But surrounding yourself with dozens of surface-level connections only leaves you feeling more isolated than before. Psychologists call this social hunger, where you consume social interactions, but none of them actually nourish your soul. True emotional healing doesn't come from having a massive crowd in your life. It comes from having just 1 or 2 people who truly see, hear, and accept you. Focus less on how many people know your name, and more on who truly knows your heart. Once you choose quality over quantity, a painful psychological trap often appears: nostalgia. When your present feels quiet and lonely, your brain naturally rewinds to the past, romanticizing old friendships, lost relationships, or golden days that no longer exist. Psychologists call this selective memory. You conveniently forget why those bonds broke, and only remember the warmth, making your current life feel twice as empty. But looking back too long keeps you anchored in a shadow world. Nostalgia is a comfortable liar. It makes the past look like home, when it's actually just a place you used to live. Even after letting go of the past, your mind finds a new way to torment you: scroll and compare. Late at night, you scroll through social media, watching everyone else travel, laugh with friends, and hit milestones while you sit alone in a dark room. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. But here is the reality your brain forgets. You are comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes life to everyone else's curated highlight reel. They post their best 3 seconds and hide the remaining 24 hours of quiet struggle. Stop measuring your inner worth against someone else's polished illusion. Once you stop comparing your journey to others, you unlock the ultimate truth of loneliness. You cannot escape yourself. Many people desperately seek relationships not out of love, but out of fear of being alone with their own thoughts. Psychologists call this external validation dependency, relying on others to feel worthy. But true emotional independence begins when you become your own safest space, learn to enjoy your own company, take yourself on dates, and build your own peace. When you learn to love being with yourself, loneliness stops being a terrifying prison and transforms into your greatest power. Once you embrace your own company, you discover a profound secret. Happiness isn't found in grand events or constant noise. When you're lonely, your brain craves massive hits of dopamine from social approval, making ordinary moments feel painfully dull. Psychologists call this sensory overstimulation. But real emotional healing happens when you slow down and train your mind to find peace in quiet rituals. A warm morning coffee, a cold shower, intense workouts, or watching the sun set. You don't need a crowd to make a moment meaningful. Small, peaceful habits silently rebuild your inner stability. Once you find peace within yourself, you reach a powerful turning point. You no longer seek people out of desperation, but out of choice. You stop accepting fake friendships just to avoid an empty room. Psychologists call this healthy boundary setting, the ability to protect your emotional peace while remaining open to genuine human connection. You start attracting people who align with your values, passion, and growth. You don't need a massive circle, you just need a few authentic souls who clap for your wins and support your quiet struggles. Rebuilding connection isn't about opening your doors to everyone, it's about letting the right ones in. This whole journey leads to one life-changing realization. Loneliness was never meant to break you, but to build you. When you stop running from the silence, isolation transforms from a painful curse into your greatest power. This quiet space is where champions are forged, where you train your body, sharpen your mind, build your career, and discover who you truly are without the world's noise. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth. You're no longer the victim of your isolation. You are the architect of your own power. Step out of the shadows, own your solitude, and realize that you were strong enough all along.